I want to say something directly, and I mean directly, because this one matters. You are probably not lazy, you are unclear. And those are two completely different things. I know the difference personally. Third year at the company, my VP pulls me aside and told me I needed to take English classes. Said my accent was a problem. Now, I could have taken that as a reflection of my ability, my character, my performance, but I knew none of those things were true. My accent is not my limitation. My accent is part of what makes me me. And what makes you different is usually what makes you valuable. But here's what I learned from that moment. People will mislabel you when they don't understand you. And if you are not careful, you will start believing the label. That is exactly what happens with lazy. Lazy means you don't want to move. Unclear means you don't know where to move. One is a character flaw, the other is a direction problem. And direction problems have solutions. Think about the people you know who have worked hard for years. They have handled real responsibilities, solve problems nobody asked them to document, show up even when it was hard. That is not laziness. That is years of consistency. But here's what happens when those same people start thinking about changing direction, building something new, doing something that is actually theirs. They don't see a clear starting point, so they stall. And that stall gets mislabeled by others and eventually by themselves. I did it too. I told myself I needed more freedom, but I could not define what freedom actually looked like. I knew I needed income, so I kept showing up to a job that felt like autopilot, saving money, waiting for clarity that was not coming on its own. And the longer I waited, the more I started wondering if something was wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with me. The target was just out of focus. Here's the thing about your brain. It resists undefined movement. That is not a character flaw. That is just how we are wired. If someone tells you, work harder, you cannot aim at that. If someone says, be more disciplined, there is nothing to grab onto. But if someone asks you, what exactly are you trying to build? What skill have you been using for years that you have never actually named? What problem do people consistently bring to you? Now there's something to work with. Now we are moving toward clarity. And here's why clarity matters more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings it is there, some mornings it is not. If you need to feel inspired before you can move, you will feel inconsistent most of the time. Structure is different. Structure gives you something to follow even on the days the feeling is not there. Most people are not stuck because they lack drive. They are stuck because they have never clearly defined what they know, what they want to build, and what the very next step actually is. Vague goals create vague actions. I want more freedom. Freedom from what exactly? I want to make more money. From which skill? I want to start something. What specifically? When the target is foggy, movement feels heavy. And heavy movement over time starts to feel like a personal failure. Like something must be wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. The target is just out of focus. That is why the first step in Rewired growth, it's not building, it's not hustling, it is not launching anything. It is seeing you define what you actually know, you isolate the real skills hiding inside your daily work, you identify what you have been doing for years that you have never thought to call it valuable. Because once something is clearly defined, it gets lighter. And once it gets lighter, you move. Not perfectly, not all at once, but constantly with direction. If you have been quietly calling yourself lazy, stop. Ask better questions. Am I actually lazy, or have I just never clearly defined what am I building? There's a big difference between those two things. Your accent, your background, your story, none of that is the problem. The clarity is just missing. And that we can fix. Clarity comes first. Everything else follows. If any of these resonates, the See It Clarity Framework is linked below. 25 minutes and you will see yourself differently.